Hello everyone, and welcome back to my channel. Today, I'm bringing you a brand new episode in the love story of CEO James and LyTuDiep, a couple who have endured countless trials, storms, and misunderstandings that once seemed impossible to overcome. From the first days they met in the dazzling city, to the moment they decided to leave everything behind and return to a peaceful countryside, they chose love instead of letting go. Now, James and Diep are slowly building the home of their dreams. A small house nestled in a lush green garden, where the wind gently rustles through the trees, the scent of coffee drifts through the morning air, and the sound of laughter lingers after all the storms of life. But will this happiness last forever? Or will the secrets of the past return once again to test their love? Join me in today's video to see how James and Diep face these new challenges together, and whether that little house will truly become a forever home for their love. After a long period of worry and tension over little Nie's situation, James and LyTuDiep could finally breathe a sigh of relief. Their minds began to ease, and smiles slowly returned to faces that had been etched with exhaustion after so many days of running around and worrying. Their new house, their very first home together, was nearly complete. The sounds of hammers and drills echoed alongside the gentle rustling of the wind outside the porch. Diep bent down to adjust a cabinet door, while James stood on a chair tightening the last few screws on the window frame. "I think we'll be able to move in just a few more days," James said with a smile, wiping the sweat from his forehead. "Finally done." Diep nodded softly, her eyes glowing with quiet joy. "I just hope this place always stays warm like it is now. It doesn't have to be fancy, as long as we're together." But before the sunset could fade completely, the sky suddenly changed color. Dark clouds rolled in, and within moments, heavy rain came pouring down, fierce and relentless. Thunder rumbled, shaking the window frames. Water began rising outside the yard, seeping through the soil at the front porch. James rushed to stack sandbags to block the flow, while Diep hurried to gather blankets and cover the electronics with plastic sheets. Both of them were drenched, yet they couldn't help but laugh, teasing each other amid the roaring storm. "It's the first time I've seen you so fired up," James laughed, his voice almost drowned out by the thunder. "Because this is our home," Diep replied, her eyes firm and bright. "Even if the storm comes, I want to keep it standing strong." Amid the downpour, they kept arranging their belongings, setting up the bed, wiping the doors, cleaning every pane of glass. The new house, though still a bit messy, glowed softly under the warm yellow light, as if it already had a soul. A true home, built not just from bricks and wood, but from love and faith. Outside, the rain still hadn't stopped. But inside that small house, James and Diep had found a peace that no storm could ever wash away. Outside, the rain kept pouring without end. The sound of water striking the tin roof echoed steadily, sometimes like a rhythmic beat, sometimes bursting wildly with each gust of wind. On the window panes, raindrops trailed down in long shimmering lines, reflecting the flickering yellow light from inside their new home. James stood in the middle of the room, his eyes fixed on Diep. She was bent over, wiping the floor, her hands trembling slightly from the cold, her wet shirt clinging tightly to her body. Dark strands of hair fell over half her face, yet he could still see the gentle light in her eyes, the same light that once saved his soul through the harshest days. "You're soaked, Diep, go rest before you catch a cold," he said softly, his deep voice tinged with concern. Diep looked up and smiled faintly, a kind smile that tried to hide her exhaustion. "I'm fine. Just want to finish this part. We just moved in, I want everything to be clean, so that when we wake up tomorrow, we'll look around and feel it's truly our home." James walked closer and took off his thick jacket, placing it gently over her shoulders. "You're always pushing yourself too hard. Don't you know that for me, this house only feels warm when you're in it?" Diep lowered her head slightly, her lips pressed together. A sudden warmth rose in her chest, stinging her nose. She didn't reply, only nodded quietly and kept wiping the floor, her shoulders trembling beneath his jacket. Outside, the wind howled. Thunder boomed, rattling the wooden frames. James stepped out to fasten the door, then returned to light a small fire in the corner of the room. The flame slowly caught, glowing red and steady, illuminating the damp walls. Golden light danced across the room, glimmering on Diep's hair like strands of crystal. They sat together by the fire, James warming his hands over the flames, Diep spreading out blankets and hanging their soaked clothes to dry. The smell of smoke mingled with burning wood and the damp earth after rain, creating a scent so familiar, so human, like the fragrance of a new life just beginning. Then James spoke, his voice low and warm. "Stay here by the fire. I'll go check the stream behind the house. With rain like this, the water might rise." Diep looked at him, worry flickering in her eyes. "It's dark already. Please be careful. Don't go too far." He smiled, a calm, reassuring smile in the firelight. "I'll be quick. Don't worry. I won't let you be afraid." He put on his raincoat, grabbed a flashlight, and stepped outside. The door closed behind him, leaving Diep alone with the sound of the rain and the flicker of the fire. She sat by the hearth, the flames reflecting on her face, still damp from sweat and rain. Each time the fire rose higher, her shadow stretched long across the wall, trembling, yet steadfast. In that fragile warmth, she relived the nights she once spent alone, fearful and uncertain of her future, until James came. He arrived quietly, without grand promises, without noise, just action. Brick by brick, beam by beam, piece by piece, his hands built not just a house, but her trust. This home wasn't merely a shelter, it was proof of the faith he had patiently sown into her life. The firelight shimmered in her eyes, deep, bright, and glistening. She smiled faintly, whispering words that only the fire could hear. "Thank you, James. Thank you for not leaving me. For never giving up, no matter how strong the storm." Outside, the rain roared like a waterfall. The wind scattered dry leaves through the yard, and the stream behind the house growled fiercely. But inside, the fire still burned, its golden light stubbornly pushing back the chill of the long night. James hadn't returned yet, but Diep no longer felt afraid. She knew that as long as he was out there, she would be safe, strong, and unshaken. Because this love, this home, was built not only from bricks, wood, and paint, but from faith, gratitude, and the hearts of two people who had survived too much pain. Outside, the rain kept pouring endlessly. Cold gusts swept through, carrying the scent of wet soil and heavy moisture. The tin roof rattled, a steady, rhythmic drumming like the heartbeat of a countryside storm. In the dim yellow light, Diep sat curled up by the fire, gently stirring the half-burned logs. The flickering glow lit her face, weary yet peaceful, perhaps because she was no longer alone through the storm, like she once was. The door suddenly creaked open. She looked up, startled, then smiled. James stepped inside, his raincoat drenched, a jacket slung over his shoulder, one hand holding a soaked chicken that let out a weak cluck. He stood there, breathing out mist in the cold air, but a warm smile spread across his face. "I met a farmer down by the stream," he said. "He sent us this chicken, to congratulate us on the new house." Diep blinked in surprise, then laughed softly, her voice gentle as the rising smoke. "In this stormy weather, and still such kindness?" James nodded, wiping the rain from his hair. "Yeah," he said, "in the countryside, what matters is the heart. I thought, maybe tonight we should make a proper meal, as a way to say thank you." She said nothing, only nodded, a small nod that carried understanding beyond words. They began to work together, one washing rice, one cleaning vegetables, one stoking the fire, one preparing the chicken. Laughter mixed with the sound of rain, the scent of wood smoke and fried shallots filling the room, making the damp house come alive with warmth and light. Soon, the pot of ginger chicken soup began to boil, steam fogging up the windows. The spicy aroma spread through the kitchen, and Diep unconsciously took a deep breath. She turned to look at James, sitting by the fire, stirring the pot, his strong hands glowing red under the flickering light. In that moment, she saw it clearly, the man before her wasn't just a companion, he was the part of her life she wanted to hold on to forever. James placed the bowls of rice on the wooden table, pulled out a chair, and together they bowed their heads in quiet prayer. "Thank you, Lord, for keeping us safe through this storm. Thank you for this home, for the person beside me, and for the trials, so we could learn to love deeper." Their two voices murmured amen, soft yet filled with light that seemed to bloom inside them both. They ate as the rain drummed steadily outside, the fire casting a golden glow on their bright, content faces. As they ate, Diep spoke about the old days, her time in the city, unfinished projects, dreams left hanging, and nights spent crying, afraid she wasn't strong enough to go on. James listened in silence, his eyes deep and steady. He didn't interrupt, only nodded, smiling gently, as if storing every word she said in his heart. When the meal was nearly over, he set down his chopsticks, his voice calm but resolute. "Diep, I've been thinking. I don't want you to always stand behind me anymore. You're talented, capable, you've just never had the chance to prove it." Diep looked up, surprised. The firelight shimmered in her eyes. James continued, his tone firm but full of warmth. "I'll help you start a small company. You studied business, I know you can do it. I'll be behind you, but you'll lead the way. I want to see you become the boss, the one who owns her own life." For a moment, the world seemed to fall silent. The rain still fell, but softer now, gentler. Diep gazed at him, her eyes full of faith, emotion, and gratitude. "You really believe in me?" James smiled, that tender, grounding smile of his. "I do. Because I've seen you stand back up, every single time you've fallen." A tear slid down her cheek. She clasped his hand, her voice trembling but filled with determination. "Thank you, James. I promise I won't let you down. I'll try, for myself, for you, and for this home." James tightened his hold on her hand, his gaze glowing warm as the fire. Outside, the storm still raged, but inside, the house was full of quiet light and warmth. The firelight painted their silhouettes on the wall, two figures leaning close, two souls who had weathered every storm and were now kindling a new beginning. That night, they didn't just share a meal. They shared the first taste of hope. Amid the steady rain, their little house shone bright. A small beacon in the darkness, marking the start of a new journey. One of love, dreams, and two people learning to rebuild their lives from the simplest, most genuine things. In the early morning, the thin clouds began to fade. The sky after the storm was a clear, deep blue, as if washed clean. Sunlight filtered gently through the trees, catching on the raindrops that still clung to the leaves, glimmering like crystal. The air was cool and fresh, carrying the scent of wet earth, wildflowers, and the distant crow of a rooster, the kind of peace that only comes after days of wind and rain. James woke just as the sunlight touched the doorstep. Stepping outside, he drew in a deep breath. The air after the rain felt pure, light, and renewing. The house was still a bit messy, a few wooden doors waiting to be installed, tools scattered by the porch. He rolled up his sleeves and got to work, wiping down the windows and fitting the unfinished frames. While he was bending over a hinge, the sound of an old motorbike came from the dirt road out front. James looked up and froze for a moment. The man getting off the bike was John, an old friend who had once caused him and Diep more pain than he cared to remember. John stepped forward slowly. His face was tanned, lined by sun and time, but his eyes were gentler, quieter than before. Gone was the arrogance that once made people wary. What remained was humility, softened by experience. "Hey, James." His voice was rough but sincere. "I heard you and Diep moved out here, built a new home, so I came to see if I could help." James hesitated, his gaze fixed on the man before him. In John's eyes, he saw something different, not pretense, but truth. The truth of a man who had learned remorse. A faint smile crossed James's lips. "It's been a while. You look different, John. Calmer." John chuckled awkwardly, rubbing his neck. "Maybe because I've been through enough. I just want a quiet life now. I know I hurt you both before, but seeing you happy again makes me glad. Let me do something to make it right, even just a little." Something warm stirred in James's chest. All the anger and disappointment of the past seemed to fade with the morning wind. He nodded lightly. "If you really mean that, help me carry these doors in. The house is almost done, but I could use an extra pair of hands." John smiled, a genuine, gentle smile. "All right then. I've still got some strength left." And so the two men, once rivals, now simply two human beings, worked side by side under the morning sun. The sound of hammers echoed steadily, wood knocked against wood, quiet laughter mingled with the chirping of birds. No more distance, no more bitterness, just the quiet sincerity of two souls who had weathered their own storms. From inside the house, Diep stepped out, her hair tied neatly back, a towel in hand, her face fresh and bright after a long night's rest. She stopped, a little surprised to see John, then smiled softly. "John, it's been a long time. Thank you for coming to help." John scratched his head, shyly avoiding her eyes. "It's nothing, really. I just wanted to do something, to make up for what I did before. I still feel bad about everything that happened." Diep's tone was gentle, sincere. "Don't worry about it. Everyone makes mistakes. What matters is that we learn and change. The past doesn't define who we are, John. What matters is finding our way back." John was silent for a moment, his eyes turning red. "Thank you, truly. If it weren't for your forgiveness, I don't think I'd have the courage to face anyone again." By noon, the work was done. The new wooden doors were in place, and the house looked more complete than ever. James wiped his hands, glancing around with quiet satisfaction. Diep brought out a tray of cool drinks, smiling. "Looks like we finished another part today." "Thank you, John, you helped a lot." John laughed softly, trying to brush it off, but James stopped him. "No, take the thanks, and one more thing. We have a little gift for you." He turned to Diep, who nodded and went inside. When she returned, she was holding a small wicker cage. Inside were a few baby chicks, yellow and soft, chirping cheerfully. "We raised these from the first days we moved in," Diep said. "But now that things are better, we'd like to give them to you, so you can start again. Take care of them, and soon you'll have a whole flock." John's eyes widened, and he shook his head quickly. "No. I can't accept this. After all the trouble I caused, I don't deserve a gift." James smiled, his voice calm but firm. "Take it, John. We've all made mistakes. But no one loses the right to start over. This isn't charity, it's faith." John bowed his head, his hands trembling slightly as he took the cage. Sunlight streamed down, lighting his face, tracing every line of time and every hint of emotion. "Thank you. I'll raise them well, like I'm raising my life again." James patted his shoulder gently. "We believe in you." The wind rustled softly through the garden, leaves brushing together like a quiet melody for that moment of peace. The sky was clear, sunlight filling the yard that had just dried after the storm. John pushed his old motorbike along the dirt road, the small cage swaying gently with each step. James and Diep stood watching him go, warm smiles on their faces. "I think," Diep said softly, her voice full of emotion, "forgiveness isn't just about helping others, it's about freeing yourself, too." James nodded, his eyes reflecting the golden light. "Yes. Everyone deserves a chance to begin again." The morning breeze carried the faint chirping of the baby chicks as it faded into the distance. In the sunlight, their small house gleamed brighter than ever, steady, full of life. Like the hearts of those within it, who had finally found peace after the storm. When the work was finally done, the sun had already dipped toward the distant hills. The golden light of dusk stretched like a silk ribbon through the dewy erica leaves, reflecting softly on the new roof that still smelled of fresh wood. Everything grew quiet, only the whisper of the wind through the leaves, the soft dripping from the eaves, and the first gentle chorus of crickets rising to greet the evening. James wiped the sweat from his forehead, his hands dusty with wood shavings but his eyes bright with joy. Diep gathered the last of the tools, coiled the electric wire neatly, folded the towel, then turned to look at him. They shared a quiet smile, the smile of those who had completed a long day, the smile of simple happiness that needed no words. The dirt path leading down to the lower house was still wet, glimmering with reflections of the reddening sky. James walked ahead, carrying a heavy toolbox, while Diep followed behind, her sleeves rolled up, her blouse slightly stained with mud but her face radiant. Her hair lifted gently in the breeze, the fading sunlight kissing each strand, the soft, golden light making everything feel like a slow-motion scene of pure contentment. They walked side by side, their steps blending with the rustle of dry leaves, hearts full of emotion. It had been a long, stormy, exhausting day, yet also one to remember, the day their home took shape, and the wounds of the past finally began to heal. James glanced at Diep and saw in her eyes something he once feared he'd lost: faith, calm, and peace. He said softly, his voice low but warm, "The day felt so long." Diep looked up, her eyes sparkling in the sunset. "But it was worth it, wasn't it?" she replied, smiling, a smile that seemed to warm the whole sky. James nodded. "Completely worth it. With you, this home, and good people around us, every bit of effort was worth it." Diep gazed into the distance, across the golden fields, where wisps of smoke rose from small cottages and the distant temple bells echoed faintly through the air. It was such an ordinary scene, yet to them, it looked like the very picture of a new beginning. They sat together on the front steps, watching the sun slowly disappear behind the mountains. A cool, damp breeze carried the scent of straw smoke, fresh-cut wood, and wet grass, blending into a fragrance that smelled like life itself. James placed his hand gently on Diep's shoulder, and she rested her head against him. No words were needed, only the quiet warmth between them. They both knew that the days ahead would not always be easy, but as long as they stayed together, every hardship could be overcome. Their happiness was no longer loud or fleeting like in the early days of love, it had deepened, quiet and steadfast, like the small kitchen flame still glowing gently after the storm. It was faith, gratitude, and love, the pieces that together had built a true home. And so, another stormy day came to a close, leaving behind not only a nearly finished house, but also two hearts full of love, forgiveness, and the seeds of hope for a new life ahead. The sky faded into a soft violet hue, and the first stars began to appear. Inside that little house, two people sat side by side, silent yet deeply content. As if the whole world had paused just to give them this one peaceful moment. Stay tuned for the next episode of James and LyTuDiep's story, to see whether their happiness continues to grow, and what awaits them next as little Nee prepares to return to her parents' arms. And don't forget to share your thoughts and good wishes in the comments. Because sometimes, the smallest words of kindness can be the warmest light on someone's new journey.
Xin chào tất cả mọi người đã quay trở lại với kênh của mình, và mình là Quỳnh đây. Hôm nay thì mình đang hoàn thành những bước cuối cùng của video về câu chuyện tình yêu của James và Diệp, và mình sẽ lên vào khung giờ 7 giờ tối nay. Hôm nay thì mình làm video khá sớm. Bây giờ là 11 giờ trưa và mình đã hoàn thành xong một video. Buổi sáng thì mình làm việc khá là muộn, do sáng thì thường mình hay dậy trễ, xong là mình sẽ ưu tiên dọn dẹp nhà cửa và nấu ăn trước, sau đó là mình mới bắt đầu mình làm việc và mình mới tập trung làm việc. Thì bây giờ mình đang làm việc sắp xong rồi một tập, và mình sẽ quay video nối này nữa, là tí nữa mình nối vào là mình có thể xuất ra, sau đó mình đăng tải lên YouTube. Và mình còn hoàn thành các bước làm thumbnail rồi các thứ nữa. Và mọi người ơi, hãy ủng hộ cho kênh của mình nhé, và nhớ đón xem những video ở trên kênh của mình. Ngoài ra thì mọi người hãy tương tác với kênh nhiều hơn, để lại bình luận cũng như là like video giúp mình nha. Cảm ơn mọi người rất là nhiều. Hẹn gặp lại trong những video tiếp theo. Bye bye.